Patrick Beverley, and this deal could be done as soon as tomorrow, which would be absolutely amazing. Patrick Beverley is a perfect sort of point guard, shooting guard complement next to a guy like LeBron James, right? It's going to be a guy that's immediately going to be your starter, whether it's with Russ or you do another trade and you get somebody else. Regardless, Pat Bev is a perfect complement. He's a guy that can play defense, can, be that sort of gnat. He's the guy that you love to play with, but you hate to play against. He's been a great shooter historically, a little undersized at 6'1", but he more than makes up for it. He's the guy that, he'll go get a technical for you. He'll go and put in the effort. And you really need a guy like that glue guy, that staple guy, that locker room guy, that motivational guy. A guy that's like, I'll lead by example. And I'm all for the Lakers acquiring Patrick Beverley. But the trade is, so far, at least based on the early reports, now this could change, but THT. And many people may wonder, why would they trade THT for Patrick Beverley? And primarily, it's to move off of his salary. Because with his salary off the books, the Lakers would have close to $32 million in cap space next season. So there's more than just like, let's go clear and get a guy like Patrick Beverley. No, it's also clearing off salary cap because Patrick Beverley is an expiring contract. So the Lakers could re-sign him. There's many ways that they could go about it. And THT is kind of the odd man out, especially if you end up keeping Russ. THT makes absolutely no sense. You need a guy like Patrick Beverley. So Patrick Beverley, again, fits there. Even if you trade Russ, Patrick Beverley is your go-to starter. He could be your starting point guard or starting shooting guard because if that's the case, LeBron is going to end up being your pseudo point guard anyway. So Patrick Beverley is a guy that can just bring the ball up if you need it. THT, kind of the odd man out right now. And the Lakers desperately need shooters and those slight moves, this is great. I earlier today I made a video and I literally talked about how I believe the Lakers were going to make at least some small moves, something like this. Something like a Patrick Beverley. But there's more than just THT that has been tied to this trade. The Lakers would also be giving up Stanley Johnson, and that surprises me because they don't need to do that for salary. And secondly, Stanley Johnson, he's a guy that would really be huge for the Lakers. He was great. He was one of the bright spots last year. 6'8" body. He's not the best shooter in the world, but a great defender that could play multiple positions. Why are they giving up Stanley Johnson? Personally, I think it's one of two things on opening a spot for like maybe a Cole Snyder or, say a Jay Huff, something along those lines. Or they have another deal in place. Like let's say the Indiana Pacers deal, right? They're doing a 2-for-1 here. And if you were to get back Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, you would be getting back a 2-for-1 in the sense of Russell Westbrook. So if you do just an even swap of THT for Patrick Beverley, then you wouldn't be able to take on both Hield and Miles Turner because Hield would be your 15th spot and Miles Turner would be your 16th. You'd have to cut somebody, trade somebody, let somebody go. So this is a good sign that the Lakers have another move in mind. Again, this isn't 100% confirmation that they're going to do the Pacers deal, but the Lakers aren't giving up any draft picks in this deal. Not only are they not giving up any draft picks, they're clearing cap space for next season. They're getting in a guy in Patrick Beverley that really helps right now, and they're creating a roster spot for a Buddy Hield and Miles Turner if they were to do that deal. So I think that this is a huge sign for the Lakers that more is coming. They're doing a 2-for-1 swap. On top of doing a 2-for-1 swap, you're also, clearing salary. It looks like the Lakers have a big move ahead. And this is kind of what I've been talking about. This is what I was talking about in the video earlier today, that it makes too much sense that the Lakers would do something. And all these deals have been on the table. That's the thing. Like, none of these deals went anywhere or were going anywhere. It was a big question I asked earlier on this channel was like, did the Lakers waste their time? I don't think so, because none of these deals were there, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and they're still there now. So it doesn't affect anything waiting for Kyrie Irving. Now that they don't have a play for Kyrie, now they're going and making all these deals. This could also be technically, and I'm not saying it's going to, it wouldn't be for this year, it would be for next year. They would need to trade THT in order to clear the salary for Kyrie Irving. It's just something to keep in mind. I'm not saying Kyrie's coming. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying this would get them close to $32 million, which if they believe that Kyrie is signing next year, you would need to do something like that. But I think realistically, it's to go get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, because this is clearing cap space. This is clearing roster spots in order to make a move like that. Now, here's the other thing. You might be thinking, why didn't the Lakers try to acquire any other pieces? So when it comes to the Jazz, because the Jazz acquired Patrick Beverley via trade already, they cannot use him as a way to consolidate for salary space, so he has to be moved in a separate deal. So if the Lakers are to do another deal with the Jazz, which many people want to see, you'd have to do this deal separate regardless. So this deal gets done, and then if they want to do the Jazz deal, you can do the Jazz deal, which again, you'd need to clear off roster spaces, right? Because if you're going to take on Patrick Beverley, let's say you're going to take on Bogdanovich and Jordan Clarkson or Malik Beasley or something like that, you again need to clear off that salary guy. You need to move that person in a deal. And it's easy to just throw on Stanley Johnson into this, and you don't really affect the money because he's making so little. So that's why I think Stanley Johnson is involved and why he's added to this, and why Patrick Beverley, the Lakers are only getting Patrick Beverley and no one else in this deal, because he has to be traded in a separate deal. But I really do think that this is setting up for another deal, whether it's the Pacers deal or it's the Jazz deal again, but for other players, other pieces. So this is just the first stepping stone, and it's supposed to be announced tomorrow. If it is announced and it's official, and once we actually know all the details, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But in the meantime, I've given my thoughts and opinions, and as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. What do you think of Patrick Beverley coming to the Lakers? Are you excited? Are you not? Do you think hey, it's a good move? You clear up cap space. You're opening up a roster spot for another deal. Whether they do another deal, it could just be to add another guy or two, give one of the young guys an opportunity. That's what this could be. But Stanley Johnson was one of their most solid players last year for them, so I don't understand why. I think you're better off just keeping him, but maybe they look at winning Gabriel a little higher. I don't know. It's an that this is the beginning stages to more moves, more steps. Whether it's the Pacers deal, whether it's something else. Patrick Beverley, at the end of the day, is a great solid pickup. He's going to be a lot more effective this year than THT. I really do like THT. I know a lot of people aren't very high on THT, but I think he's younger than half the people that were drafted this year. He has so much upside, so much potential. If he was drafted this season, everyone would be talking about THT and how it's ridiculous the Lakers just traded him for Patrick Beverley. That would be the only conversation, because that's the conversation that should be had. But I do understand you got the commitment from LeBron. You need to do something. You need to make moves like this, these small moves that just, make you slightly better. This isn't going to make them a contender all of a sudden, but it's a step in the right direction. You get a guy who shot 38%, 39% from three last year. If he can maintain that this year, a guy that's going to be just tenacious, going to play some defense, going to offer a lot and bring a lot to the table for the Lakers. I think that this is an absolute home run for them. I think he's a perfect complement next to a guy like LeBron James. I think he would be a solid complement next to Russell Westbrook if they do decide to keep Russ. But I think that this is the first sign of okay, the Lakers are heading in a positive direction. It's nice to see that they didn't have to give up any pick. They didn't have to even give up a second round pick, which makes sense because you're getting a young guy for a team that you're rebuilding, right? We want him. We're getting the salary. We're taking the salary. So that helps. If it doesn't work out with Patrick Beverley, you could always let him walk. If it does go great and it works great, you get his bird rights. You could re-sign him. You're in a great position. So however you shake it, the Lakers would be in a position to retain Patrick Beverley on a smaller deal if need be, because I don't know if he's going to get, $12 million or whatever it is again. But you never know. I mean, it's something, regardless, it's a solid deal. It's something that really helps. It's something that is a net positive for the Lakers. And we'll take it, or at least me personally, I'll take this. Any move, whether it's big or small, that helps elevate the Lakers, let's make it happen. But anyway, again, however you feel about the situation, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.